you also tired of seeing and making boring, identical, realistic portraits when you can't even see whose art is behind the picture and it doesn't really matter? What if I told you that painting can look and feel completely different, and there is another way that will give you joy in life and happiness from the creative process? And as a side effect, your artworks will attract everyone's attention and you'll start growing and developing like a tropical plant. Hello my dear friends, my name is Kseniya, I'm an artist, and if you found this video, this is your time to take your creativity to the next level and start thinking bigger and deeper and begin this beautiful creative journey. Today I'd like to tell you about some good and quite effective techniques on how to make your portraits much more interesting and spectacular. This is a transformation from the way of thinking of an art student to truly creative way of thinking, to approach of real artists. You'll learn to feel and see completely differently. I will show you like the whole new artistic universe today. You'll stop being afraid to put an extra stroke, to feel constrained. You'll begin to feel lightness, liberation and confidence, because painting is not a test at school, it's pure enjoyment of beauty and creative process, this experiment on the canvas. And it requires analytical thinking, but still it's a beautiful game. So today we're talking about how to use complex color, the real magic you can do with the texture, tone, ornaments, unification, what is selective vision, what is the power of detail, and how you can take your portraits to the next level by using all these things properly. By the way, I made a big album for you with a selection of 50 cool creative portraits for inspiration and development of creativity, good taste. You can pick it up right now on Boosty, link in description, and we'll start. I kind of want to start with the texture as one of the most exciting topics for me and very powerful tool in painting, because working with oil paint here gives us huge opportunities in like the whole field for creative experiment. Thanks to the texture of paint itself, it can be used both pasty, like thick heavy piece of paint, and liquid, very transparent, like watercolor. The question that very often comes from a student: in what specific places is better to use texture? So it's very cool and interesting to use on the hair or on facial hair, in iris and pupils, on the lips. Actually, like anywhere you want, it's depending on your idea, on your organization of the canvas. Like you can make just some volumetric accent on the cheek and that will be like wonderful, beautiful accent. We used to paint everything smoothly, like perfect smooth faces, perfect smooth surroundings, but you limit yourself by using only this method. It's very boring when everything is painted in the same way, like equally smoothly, equally perfect. So using texture is very interesting, and since there is such opportunity, why not to use it? You can make it with a big bristle brush or palette knife or even your finger, just like whatever is convenient for you. I encourage you to play with the texture in your portraits, to highlight some important parts with the volume, like the physical volume of the paint, to make some volume in a thick stroke that you can almost touch, and somewhere on the contrary make very delicate, transparent watercolor-like piece, and this will create this three-dimensionality for your painting, for your portrait. And since we're talking about volumetric texture, we have opportunity to remove it with razor blade and get even cooler texture, like a cut of a stroke. I often use razor blades when my work is dried, and I just like slightly remove excess texture with like shaving movements. And underneath there is very interesting insights of a stroke where perhaps some paints have not completely mixed. This gives us even more richness in the color and interest in texture. Also, you can make various scratches, like scratch your painting with maybe sandpaper, and just like disturb the painting layer in every possible way to give this dynamic, this liveliness. Just do not let it be boring and perfectly perfect, you know? Another option for texture is watercolor texture, all these beautiful and interesting fills, drips. It's very nice to use this effect on the background and clothes and hair. And all the beauty and interest here in randomness of these drips, so do not try to control them. You'll never know how the paint gonna behave, what kind of stain there will be, what kind of drop there will be. It's just like pure wonderful creativity, so just let the paint do its job. And the third option of texture is flat fills, and flat fills is excellent solution for a background or piece of clothing, for example, and flat fills make it possible to emphasize the volume of the face. It's best to do with flat bristle brush or flat synthetic one. You can even use like a roll or just cover with paper tape the part you want to keep and paint over the part you want it to make flat. You can make some piece of clothing flat, for example sweater peeking out from the jacket. Like many things can be done in such interesting way. It's all about your organization of the canvas and your thought process. And here you don't need to try blend edges and make it soft touch and delicate, because the interest in this clarity, this sharpness and expectedness, as if you cut out and glued like a piece of colored paper here. So in general, as you understand, you can play a lot with the texture, and it's very exciting, it's very interesting, and it can give you very interesting effects, and it's like the whole new way to look at painting. And so the next tool, which actually should be mentioned first since we're talking about painting, is the color. Color for sure here is the main tool, and its reasonable use can lead you to completely new, incredible results. Because after all, painting is all about the color. It's all about the celebration of the colors, its joy. And I'm not talking about various flashy colors from the tube, but about really rich, deep, beautiful, complex colors. There is a huge difference between real color and lightweight and colorfulness. And this is very important for you to learn how to see it and how to understand the difference. There are many paints and pigments, and my students often ask which colors are necessary to have in your palette and which are secondary. So I personally love colors so much, so I have fairly wide palette, and I always advise large number of different beautiful colors to have on your palette to create from them more and more beautiful complex colors for your painting, you know, to have this like diversity of colors right in front of you. But of course it's not about the amount of colors, but about your ability to create these complex colors. So what is a complex color? Basically, a complex color is a color composed out of several colors, interesting not by its flashy brightness, but because of its unusualness. And here I would highly recommend you to look at the paintings of Josef Zisman, Pierre Bernard, Richard Diebenkorn, Vladimir Weisberg, Daria Kolegova, my dear teacher from the Imperial Academy of Arts, and Robert Falk, and really get into what colors they use, how they get them, and how they interact in their paintings. It's just amazing. In general, when working with color, it's very important to have this reasonable approach and do a lot of work on the palette, really experiment, think through these colors. Try not doing boring skin color like tubes of foundation in makeup store, like boring background color not related to the face and clothes. Everything is connected with each other, and everything consists of various beautiful complex colors, and you need to train your eyes to see all this beautiful diversity. And the next key is tone, and you might be surprised, but you don't always have to make the same tone as you see in reality. There is a great deal of interest in making some parts of painting in the same tone, but of course like in different colors since it's like the different objects. So this can also give us very cool effect, for example, clothes and background or hair and background. This adds solidness to your work. In addition to the fact that it's like a very cool effect, your artwork will look like a single whole because sharp contrast kinda distracts us, they divide artwork, it looks fractional. And the next key or next method is unification. I just really love this technique because thanks to it you can combine different elements of clothing with the background, with the chair, and just like unite the objects in one single beautiful spot or like one single stain. For example, shadows looks very good when they're combined and united. So in general, this technique of combining several similar objects, similar by tone or by color, into one colorful stain with interesting shape. This also gives solidness to your work and this beauty of the ability of human vision and thinking to isolate some details and combine them into something single that will not on one hand take too much attention as if each detail remains separately. And on the other hand, it will be a cool effect that can help emphasize more elaborated important pieces. And the next tool is ornament. And admit in the comments how many times you ignored ornaments and just like painted everything with one color so it won't distract from the face. Or maybe your teacher told you not to paint ornament here, but turned out that wise use of ornaments can be very interesting and powerful. Here it's best to remember how Edouard Vuillard, Gustav Klimt and many other artists use ornament. The power of ornament cannot be overestimated. With the help of ornament, you can show the flatness of some object. For example, the background. You can again separate the face, create interesting rhythms in the picture. It's just amazing. So don't rush to ignore the ornament. This thing really can become your strong point. Here, for example, artworks of Valeria Lukashenko, and she sometimes uses fabric with a floral print, which is a very interesting creative idea. It looks very cool because, again, it's unexpected. When all the painting is done by hand and has all the soft and perfect lines and strokes, and then you see the ornament on it and like it's suddenly perfect. Well, and the last but not least key is selective vision and the power of detail. When we take a simple photo on the phone, all the objects are equally sharp and equally clear. For example, cinematic photography implies a focus on important objects and blurring less important ones. And this already has a creative artistic approach. And we also use this in painting, only much wiser and much more interesting than camera work. As an artist, we're trying to see the main thing, which requires greatest detailed work, and the secondary, which can be done primitively and abstractly. Because if you will make all the parts of clothes, face, hair, background equally detailed, then it's some kind of strange mechanical work, Such work most likely will look fragmented and not interesting because I have nothing to catch on when everything done equally. It's like some kind of visual noise. This is why we try to leave some parts unfinished, incomplete. It's like some kind of unspokenness when we don't call each thing by its name, but leave some parts like abstractly blurred. There is such thing as the power of detail. So we can make one or several things very clear, very detailed, and the rest make kind of foggy, abstractly foggy, just leave it. And the whole picture will lean on these details. Details are something that eye catches, some sort of accent, and in painting this accent is achieved by elaboration of a certain spot. For example, since we're talking about portrait painting, the most important part of the face, human face, is eyes, and we always try to highlight this as an accent in an interesting way. Like, it's clear that this part of the face deserves maximum elaboration, and accordingly we also do not give such detailed, clear elaboration on the lips, for example, so as not to shift the focus from the eyes. But there is also a trick. There's a great interest in making only one eye detailed, which is closer to the viewer, and making the second eye slightly blurry and generally do not put a lot of work and details into it. This is not just a cool effect, but also creates illusion of perspective. So the object that is closer to us is clearer than the one that is further away. So in general, there's a huge amount of various tools and techniques that can make your artworks much more interesting and amazing. But the main goal of all this is to turn it into some kind of philosophy of your art, of your creativity. So it won't be like just some effects for you, but your natural way of thinking. You're not trying to impress anyone, it's just really who you are and how you feel. So this is truly a long and wonderful path, and I teach this in my online classes in Skype. I have students from different countries of very different levels, and with each of them we're working with painting and drawing. So if you want to learn more, if you want to work under my mentorship, then I'll be glad to see you among my students. This is a lot of personalized one-on-one work with me. For the first lesson, you'll need to send me your latest works and write what are you striving for, what artists inspire you, so that we can understand in what direction you need to develop your skills. Lessons are structured in the form of homework and feedback with explanations. I'll start giving you tasks. As you complete them, you'll send it to me and we'll analyze your work. The tasks can be different depending on your request and needs. This can be short exercise for one time to practice some specific skills, and long-term work for several lessons. So text me in direct messages on Instagram or by email if you're interested in studying with me. All the contacts are under this video, and we'll find a convenient time for you to study. I'm so happy to share my knowledge and help people from all around the world on their creative path. And I was very happy to talk today on a topic that is really important to me. So thank you so much for listening. Hopefully this video was very useful to you and your creativity will really change for the better from the time you have all these keys in your hands. So see you soon in new videos and stay creative.